our granny square book cover tutorial. So this is an example of what the end product will look like. For this pattern, you're going to require a book. Books come in different sizes, so you want to make sure that the cover is going to fit the book that you want it to hold. Alternatively, you could go a little bit bigger to have a little bit of flexibility with smaller and larger books, but this is going to be a gift, so I want to make sure that it does fit this specific book. Let's put that to the side. There's real flexibility with this pattern, so any yarn and appropriate hook size will work with this. I'm using a lightweight yarn, so I have a 4mm hook. You're also going to need scissors and a yarning needle to weave in your ends. Just pop them to the side. So to start your granny square, if you know how to do a magic ring, you can start with a magic ring. Alternatively, you can chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slip stitch into that first chain, and then you can work into the center of the circle you've made there. So we're going to start off by chaining 3, and we're going to do 2 treble crochets into the center. Now I am using UK terminology. I have a conversion chart in the description if you're used to US terminology. So for our treble, we're taking the yarn over the hook, pulling that yarn through the circle, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to make our first corner, so we're going to chain 2 to do that. So now we're going to make 3 trebles into the center. So yarn over, through the center, yarn over, pull through the hoop, yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over, through 2 loops. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So now we are going to make our next corner. So we're going to chain 2. And we're going to take another cluster of 3 trebles into the center. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to chain 2 to make our third corner. And we're going to have 1 more cluster of 3 trebles into the center. 1, 2, and 3. So our final corner, chain 2, and then we want to come into the top of our first chain 3 that we did. So we're going into that top stitch, and we're going to slip stitch through. So you can see that we have our 4 corners here, and that's the start of our granny square. Now the yarn I'm using has an ombre feel to it, so I'm sticking with this yarn, and I need to come over to the first corner. So to do that, I'm going to go in the next 2 stitches, which are the top of those 2 trebles, and I'm just going to slip stitch over here. Now if you're wanting to change your yarn, you would just cut your yarn off here and start again in the corner, and we're starting with 3 chains. I have the same yarn, so I'm taking it here for 1, 2, 3, and we're taking 2 trebles, 1, 2, and we want our corner, so we chain 2. In this same space, we're going to do another 3 trebles with our cluster. So 1, 2, 3. Now to move over to our next corner, we will chain 1. Then in our next corner, we're going to do 2 clusters of the 3 trebles with our corner 2 chain. So we have 3 trebles, 1, excuse me, 2, 3, we chain 2, and another 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, we've made another 2 corners, so we're going to come up to the next corner. So to do that, we're chaining 1, and we're repeating this in the next 2 corners. 3 trebles, chain 2 for the corner, followed by another cluster of 3 trebles, and we're chaining 1 to move over to our next corner, and we're repeating the same. 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles. I'm chaining 1, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain there that we started that round with. So now we have our 4 corners here, and you can see it's nicely coming together. So again, you could either cut off your yarn to change colours and start at the next corner with your new colour, or you can slip stitch across. Which I'm doing here. So starting the same again, we're chaining 3, we're taking our 2 trebles because we're in a corner. So whenever you're in a corner, you want to make another corner. So we're chaining 2 and another 3 treble cluster into that space. 1, 2, 3. So we're coming to our next space, so we want to chain 1. Now this is a center space, it's not a corner, so we are just going to do 3 trebles in here. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 to come over, and this is a corner, so we have our 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles for our corner. Chain 1, we are in a center space, so we just want the 3 trebles in here. Then we're going to chain 1 to come over to our corner space. So we want our 3 trebles in the corner, chain 2, followed by another 3 trebles. Chain 1, we are now in a center space, so we just have the 3 trebles. Chain 1 into our corner space, 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles. Chain 1, our final space in the center, just the 3 trebles. Chain 1 and slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3 that we did. Right, so you can see that it's starting to come together now. And what we need to do is keep going until it becomes big enough to fit our book. So I'm going to show you one more round, and then I will leave you to go as big as you need to, and I will then meet you to show you how to join. So I will do. Okay, so just to show you, I've finished the square here. I believe it's big enough, so I'm just going to pop my book onto it, bring two ends together, and then join the third. And from there, you'll be able to see if that's about the right size, which for me and this book, I'm happy with that size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave some length here to crochet down one side. So bringing 3 of the joins together, I'm going to crochet down both sides to join the 3 together. Now it's up to you how you do that. You could sew it together. My preference is crocheting it together, so that's what I'm going to do. So continuing with the same piece of yarn that we were making our granny squares with, I'm going to do 2 double crochets into the center here. So I'm going to take the hook through, yarn over and through 2 loops, and I'm going to do that one more time. Pull that yarn through, yarn over and through 2 loops. And then from there, we want to do our double crochet in the top stitch of the trebles and then into the center space. And we're going to do that all the way along to the end. So into the top of our 3 trebles, take that double crochet, and then we're going to find that space and take a double into the space, and then repeat that all the way down into the top of the trebles, and into the center space. So at the end, we're going to pull this thread all the way through, take our yarning needle, and weave our ends in. For some reason I cut mine a little bit short there. Don't need too much. There we are. Cut that end off. So we want to do the same on our second side here. I'm going to start in the center, find our space here, and to join, all we need to do is come through, yarn over, pull it through the hoop, and then we're going to take 2 double crochets into this same space. But what we want to do is the end of our yarn, we want to keep that tucked in so that we're crocheting it in, and then it's just an extra end that we don't have to weave in. So we're going to do exactly the same moving down, and as I say, hopefully you can see that top of the yarn here, we want to keep up the top, so we're crocheting it along. So we're going into the top of our 3 treble stitches with our double crochet, and then we find our space here and double crochet into the space. And again, we're going to do that all the way down to the end and weave in our ends just as we did here. So I'm going to meet you once we've completed that. Okay, so our 2 sides are now crocheted together, and what we can do is turn that inside out. Here, and then I'm just going to check that we're okay. And that fits perfectly. So what we're going to go through now is how we can fold this over and make this look a little bit more pretty. You could attach a button, and then the button would fit through the hole here, so you want to make sure that the button is the right size to fit through this hole and would attach down. I'm going to stick with the crocheting, and I'm going to do a single chain to create a bow that we can tie onto our book cover here. So taking a slip knot, I'm going to chain 80. Okay, so I've chained 80. I'm going to cut my yarn and pull that through. So to make this a bit neater, I'm going to weave our ends. So I'm just going to go through and then through the loop here to make sure that's nice and secure. And then I'm just going to weave this through a couple of stitches. Okay, and we want to do that with our other end. Again, we want to go through the end, leave a little loop, thread through the loop just to create another secure knot on the end, and then weave through the first few stitches there. And cut that end off. So what we can do then is pop through. So here's our center here. So I'm just going either side of the center, making sure that that's even. And then from here, you can fold the top over, and then wherever you want to attach it, you can. So I'm going to go about here. Pop that through again. We're leaving the center free. Okay, just making sure that we're even there. And then we can tie in a little bow, which I think looks quite sweet. And there you have it. There is your granny square book cover. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy making your granny square book cover. Thank you.